Ladies and gentlemen, this is your man, DJ Grady Baby, of DJ Grady Baby Radio, the Grady Taylor Show, the podcast. Shout out to everybody that's listening to SSB Music Group. Hold on. Oh, Lord. I got everything going. All right. So SSB Music Group, DJ Grady Baby Radio fan page, YouTube. Thank you, everybody, for listening, chiming in. I know this is normally Crazy Grady, Crazy Thursday to get you over their hump, get you past your hump and slide you into Friday. But this is going to be a different kind of crazy. This is going to be a show that's going to be packed with crazy information that you're going to need. I have a very special guest that we're bringing on today. And this brother here, oh my goodness. This brother here, he's a native Atlanta, and I wonder, is he a Grady baby? And I haven't asked him, is he a Grady baby? But he's a native of Atlanta. I think I want to say Columbia High School. This man, he's a father, husband, entrepreneur, a serial speaker, a serial business entrepreneur. This guy, he creates business. He understands business, and he definitely know how to create generational wealth. So before I bring my special guest on, I see G. Clark is sitting here with me. We're going to bring G. Clark on, and we're going to definitely bring on our guest. And also, I owe my graduates a song. I promised them on Monday. I got you today. So I definitely got to play the hats out to all the 2020 graduates. Also, my cousin, Scooter Brown, and Miss Desiree. Matter of fact, I'm going to do this right now for I get killed, because she called Shamika the other day, call Mr. Grady. Where's my song? So Desiree, this is for you. Desiree, we love you and we're so proud of you. As you go on to join the Air Force, we are so proud of you. We are proud of all our graduates. So thank you for your service. Just much success to you, Miss Desiree Sharp. And just continue to do your best consistently, and you will be the best at whatever you do. All right. I got your song. And let me bring my brother in, my little big brother, the CEO. This brother here, he's a man of many talents. This brother here, chef, bartender, cook, mechanic, photographer, you name it, he does it. He adds more to his title. This guy has more title than I do. But let me bring to the stage my little big brother, Mr. G. Clark. What's up, brother?
What's going on, Doc, man? We doing pretty good, man. Pretty good. Beautiful Thursday. I'm ready to see what's going on with the show. Excited about the guests that we're having. And I got my pad and my pencil ready to take some notes. So
yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
Yes, please, ladies and gentlemen, get your pad and pencil, man. When I first saw it, I was at Level Up. Shout out to LaKale Farley and this young man, Mr. Sean J. Harris, spoke, man. And it's something that it sticks in my head right to this day. Opportunity. Take advantage of the opportunity. Because when he started out, he was passing out something. And he kept saying opportunity. And everybody just sat there and looked. And only one person, I think one person got up and took whatever he had. It was in his hand. And he did it again. And it was about taking advantage of opportunities. Like now, this is the right opportunity for you to start creating your business. If you don't have a business, work on your business plan to work on leaving something for your kids, generational wealth. I'm going to let him explain to you about generational wealth. And also we're going to talk about how can we as a community affect the economy with our dollars. And there's just so much that we want to talk about with Mr. Sean J. Harris. But allow me to bring him to the stage. And first of all, he got to let me know if he's a Grady baby. I really want to know if he's from Grady Hospital. Matter of fact, this guy, he's a, like I said, father, husband, veteran. Also, he's served as law enforcement, and he's an entrepreneur, and he trains and coaches, and he's a motivational speaker. He's an international speaker. I don't want to go any further. I want to butcher everything, but I'm so proud to have this brother on the show, Mr. Sean J. Harris. Hey, brother, how you doing, Sean?
Hey, good morning, Grady. How you doing, King?
Hey, I'm doing all right.
Hey, good morning.
Man. Hey, you got to answer my.
What's going on, G. Clark?
What's going on, Doc?
Hey, I'm good. Hey, Grady, first and foremost, brother, I am an original Grady baby born on the 12th floor by Dr. Stagger.
There it is.
Man, you remember the doctor's name, boy. He's got to be a bad man.
It is.
Oh man, that's okay. Everybody had on this a Grady baby, man. How you been doing? How was your weekend, man?
Hey man, it's going great. Always staying productive. Family is always moving in a forward direction.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, I don't know where to start, but I remember responding to you from one of your posts on Facebook, and we was talking about how can the how can we as a people affect the economy, and I want to know what are the steps that we need to do because people always say broad things like that, but never go into details, and I really just want you to elaborate on how can we make this happen.
Well, number one thing we got to do is we got to become financially literate. You know,
Mhm.
it's sad sometimes to see that our smallest kids from 3 to 4 years old, they can know every song, every dance, everything. But when it comes to finances, a lot of times we fall well behind the eight ball. And so one of the key things is to start at an early age as far as teaching financial literacy.
Mhm.
And once we learn financial literacy, that's how we start to have economic impact or economic power. What is economic power? Economic power basically is when you sign the front and the back of your check. So
Wow.
what we got to start doing, we got to teach these babies at an early age the importance of finances, because a lot of times right now, and I can go all over the map with this, but you know, a lot of people right now saying, well, we got to vote, which we do, but that's not the only thing. You got to come to the table with a war chest, if you will. You got to have economic power through the voting. Because
Mhm.
if you ever notice, you may have the proverbial strip club, the liquor store put in your neighborhood, and you wonder, man, how did this happen? Well, it happened because they voted on a Wednesday afternoon at 1 o'clock when everybody was at work. And if you didn't have economic say so in that, your voice isn't heard. So, a lot of times we have to have that economic power in order to get your voice effectively heard, because so many communities get out here and they actually put money with their power to get their voice heard. And you guys from Grady, and
Wow.
y'all remember growing up, man. Back in the 90s, late 80s, we would always talk about, oh man, look at all the Mexican people living in a house together. Look at all the Asian
Thank
people
you.
living in a house together. But see, that's called group economics. Dr. Claude Anderson talked about that. So let's say you got 4 Hispanic families or 4 Asian families, they all live in a house together.
Yes.
Well, the first couple, we're going to aim to get them a truck. Let's say if it's a Hispanic community, for an example, who may want to own a landscaping business or construction business or any type of viable business, electricians, engineers. So family number one, we're going to all pool our money together and get them a truck. Next month or so, we're going to pool our money together. We're going to get family number two, family number three, and family number four subsequently. So now everyone got good vehicles that's operating their businesses. Then our next step that they're going to do is they're going to put family number one out of the house in a good way, because they're going to
Mhm.
pool the money together and buy them a house. And then they're
Mhm.
going to subsequently do the same thing with families number two, three, and four. But when family number one leaves the residence, guess what? They're replaced with another family.
Right.
Now, as a black community, we clowned on communities that was doing that.
Mhm.
But if you look now, who's dominating right behind the dominant society, which is the Caucasians or the Europeans,
Mhm.
and it's the Asians and the Hispanic community. And
Yeah.
also, who's getting their voice heard when it comes to voting ahead of black people? And
Yeah.
again, it's the Hispanic
Expanded.
and the Asian
Yeah.
community. So
Yeah.
that's one of the bases that we got to really focus on, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, you hit it right on the head. That group econ group economics. Oh man, it God, you hit it right on the head because anything that people present to them that's like that, the people
Mm-hmm.
shoot it down. Oh, I want to have my own this and that. But you're creating a liability. They formed an asset as far as, okay, I'm gonna help you get a truck. That truck became an asset for their landscaping business, and they took that and brought it and the next family came on. They probably hired the other family on to actually generate some income to so they can get their stuff. So it's a stair thing. It's a rotational thing. Man.
Exactly.
Also, can you give our listeners a brief background on you and your business and the services that you provide? I'm
I
sorry, we
got
should get
you.
it from the top.
Okay, no problem, no problem. You know me, I like to just jump right into it and start helping the community, bro. So let me
Yes,
tell you a
sir.
little bit about myself and What qualifies me? Why would a person want to listen to what I have to say? Like I said earlier, I am originally from Atlanta. I come from a long lineage of entrepreneurs. My great aunt and uncle actually owned one of the first African American owned hotels here in Atlanta, in the Auburn Avenue area. If you guys are familiar with the old Curb Market, it was not too far from there.
Municipal Market. Yes, I grew up
Yeah.
in Auburn Avenue, Fourth Ward.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
you know them.
Yes,
And
sir.
they also own the only, first and only at that time before pre-civil rights, only black-owned taxi service here in Atlanta. Both my parents owned companies growing up. My wife and I, we own multiple corporations today, including capital investment company, a couple real estate companies, security company, commercial cleaning company, publishing company. We got a whole plethora of viable, successful companies. I spent 4 years in the United States Air Force, have a background in aerospace propulsion and aeronautics, and had an extensive career in law enforcement. Used to kick in doors for a living. So, I want to kind of talk about what's going on with the climate right now with law enforcement. One of the reasons why I got out of law enforcement, some of the things I see with law enforcement, and some of the things that we have to do as a community to effect change there. A 28-time author, written 28 books. A lot of them are bestsellers. Both my children, I got a 10-year-old daughter, 9-year-old son. They both own two companies each. And both my son and daughter are 4-time authors. My daughter's putting out her fourth book now, and my son is almost completed with his as well. So, we keep things moving and want to be a positive influence to show what a black family with power looks like. My wife is a naval war veteran as well. She is pretty much the COO of all of our corporations, and she's the glue to keep everything together.
Oh wow! Thank you for our service. Wow. Now
What's
you
what?
mentioned your family owned business on Auburn Avenue, and I have been trying to educate the young people about Auburn Avenue. Could you elaborate that Auburn Avenue was like one of the richest cities for us? Because my mom,
Absolutely.
she was trying to tell me about it as a kid. I wasn't really, I haven't really processed it until I actually did just a little bit of research. But I'm not sure you know more about Auburn Avenue than I do.
Yeah, man. A lot of times we in our community we only think of Tulsa as being the only Black Wall Street, but man, we had Black Wall Streets all over the nation.
Hmm.
Auburn Avenue was a Black Wall Street, man. We had Black attorneys, Black doctor's office, pharmacy, you name it. So, matter of fact, on Auburn Avenue, right underneath the big bridge, there's a place called the Apex Museum. You get a lot of historical
Yes.
information about the African American community. But in time, people have different ideologies and thought processes as it relates to segregation. At that time, I think, in my opinion, my humble but accurate opinion, I think that segregation should have stayed intact a little longer than what it did, because what happened was, if you heard the old axiom, white ice is better or colder than black ice. And
Wow.
so many times in our mindsets in our community, we often think that, oh man, well, let's join forces. Let me close down my pharmacy and we'll join forces with a European pharmacy. So what happened was you got edged out of the equation.
Hmm.
And then our community starts going to their ice. Their ice is colder, you know? And that's a whole reflection and spinoff from the effects of post-traumatic effects of the lynch letter. And I can talk about that for a whole a week
Wow.
and a day. But a lot of times people are so psychologically destroyed by what the lynch letters have created in our society. So
Yes.
I think that's a huge problem too that we got to get past.
Yeah, we definitely have to deprogram ourselves from what society has set for us, um, and get back to basic economics. Cultural economics. But man, wow, G. Carr, I know you have a question.
Yeah, I hate to backtrack, man, but definitely I was Mr. Harris. I was reading up on your pages and your websites, man, and the one thing that I could really appreciate is the inclusion of your children and you starting them at an early age, man. I was blown away by the video of your son. Was he flying a plane or just in the cockpit?
He was actually flying it, man. Him and my daughter were both in the plane. He started off flying first, and the pilot was a good buddy of mine. He said, "Hey, I'm gonna give complete control over to Caden to fly." So I said, "Hey, let's go with it." So Caden took the yoke, and he kind of eased to the left, eased to the right, up and down a little bit, and that was just empowering, G, because I'm an Air Force guy, and I worked on jet engines and avionics, and I've been in planes. I've actually been in F-15, but it was rewarding to me to have the opportunity for my son to fly an aircraft before I ever even thought about flying one.
Yes,
You know what
sir.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
And that's the thing we want to put them
absolutely.
kids.
Same here, man. I was blown away.
Yeah, I was
No,
like, wow.
number one, I like to keep my feet planted on the ground personally. um, and I've always said when I do fly, man, I'm like, I think a part of my fear is that I can't control it. I'm not the one that's controlling where I'm going. I can't slow it down if I need to. I can't speed it up if I want to.
Yeah. But
So go ahead,
yeah.
Grady.
One thing I learned: success is just on the other side of fear. Just do it. Just try it. Don't be afraid.
Well, I'm not just gonna invite myself to the cockpit. I will successfully find myself arrested.
Yeah, right. So you have to go through one of those private lots, plane lots. So, Mr. Harris, I almost like to call you Dr. Harris. So let like for new and beginning people who wants to start a business, what are the first steps you suggest they should do?
First thing I recommend to do is get educated, get a mentor. A lot of times, I was saying I got it by myself, and that's one of the bad things or bad traits of our community is I got this. And we got to get out of that I got this mentality. We got to get to the point where we learn to collaborate. That's a word that's been floating around the communities for the last couple of years, but do we truly understand what collaboration means? And let me give you an example. Right now, fellas, I grew up gardening. My dad always taught us how to garden, how to plant food and everything. So I said, you know what? This is a pivotal time to teach my children about gardening. So we've been growing a garden now. We're going on week number 3. We're in week number 3 now with the gardening, and it looks completely different from when we started. But what I was teaching the kids, and I like to tie everything to make it an economic lesson if I can. So I told the kids, I said, listen, if we planted 4 vegetables or fruit, our next door neighbor planted 4 vegetables or fruit, and our neighbor on the opposite side grew 4 different fruits and vegetables. That's a total of 12 different fruits and vegetables. And when you grow in a garden, you're going to have an abundance. You're going to have enough to feed yourself. You're going to have an abundance. So imagine if all 3 neighbors all got together collectively and collaborated our efforts. We could all have 12 different items of food that we can share. And with the surplus, we can even still go sell it. So the mindset, that's the first thing that we have to instill when it comes to business. And, when starting a business, we got to get out of the, matter of fact, I was somewhere on the west side yesterday, and I saw a tow company, and I think it was called Show Enough Towing or something like that. Now, obviously, when I see that, I know it's brother owned or sister owned. But when you want to do bigger business, you got to have a business that looks to be a big reputable company. Right. You see what I'm saying? That's not going to shy us away. So we gotta take our business serious and not look at it as a hobby. Yes. Because there's actually a tax law called a hobby law. So if your business doesn't profit after a certain time frame, your business can file as a loss and it's considered a hobby loss. So we got to get our black businesses out of that hobby loss category. We got to start getting into creating a real entity. The first thing you want to do is you want to start an entity. Whether you're going to go LLC, LLP, sole proprietor, corporation, and each entity has its own advantages and disadvantages. It's just going to depend on what your particular platform is and the direction that you want your company to go in. And a big part of that is understanding the tax structure that you're going to need. Getting an EIN. An EIN number, that is equivalent to being a social security number for your corporation, if you will.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
That's important. A lot of people, this disaster relief fund that just came out, so many people were trying to get that. Like, man, I want to get it, Sean. How come they're not calling me back? I asked, do you have an EIN number? What is that? That's why you didn't get it. You see what I'm saying? You have to have a full legal registered entity to qualify for certain things.
Wow.
So
Mhm.
that's some of the key things. You got to have an EIN number as well as your articles of incorporation, or organization, either one, as well as the entity itself, whether it's LLC, just to start a bank account, a business bank account. And with a business bank account, you want to make sure you have a business bank account and not commingle funds, because that's illegal. And we get so many people to get tied up in that situation. So
Yeah.
that's some of the key things, just kind of getting started. It's complex, but it's not that complex as it relates to getting a company started.
Wow. I definitely need a mentor. I have almost everything that you named except for the business account, because COVID-19 hit right when I got ready to open up a business account. But definitely I'm going to be acquiring your services for a mentorship, or acquiring your service for, signing up and registering
Cool.
with your company. And also, people, I encourage you, this man, he creates millionaires. He makes, can you give us some of your success story type of companies that you partner with and you help along the way?
Yeah, we do big business. We do a lot of stuff in real estate, of course, which that is one of the premises and basis where African Americans, that's where you're going to gain your wealth. A lot of times people feel that, well, I'm going to start this kind of business, a candle making business. Some people, kids starting slime businesses, but we got to get in the mindset of having real businesses, big systems. And that's the key thing, a system. And the advantage of having a system allows you to be duplicatable. Because one thing that my wife and I, we focus on is our time. Time is our biggest commodity, our biggest asset.
Yes.
So what we do is we create business systems whereby you're able to create income whether you're there or not. It's kind of like McDonald's. If you go to McDonald's, a number 1 is a Big Mac. A number 8 is a fillet of fish. No matter what McDonald's you go to on any given day in the summer, the milkshake machine is going to probably be broke. See, it's a system. They even got a system how the machine breaks. So as it relates to running a successful business, that's the same thing we have to do. We've done big companies with a lot of corporations, a lot of individuals, and that's the big thing too. I want to touch on the individuals, because Grady, a lot of times people say, well, that's a big company, or this is a big conglomerate. Well, how can you help the everyday person? So let me share some things about the everyday people. I got a buddy of mine. His name was Winston. Winston's from Jamaica. And I met Winston at an Intercontinental. He was like the banquet manager of an Intercontinental. And we just started talking everything. And he's from Jamaica. And he mentioned to me that he wanted to own his own business in the hospitality industry. And I noticed that he was extremely good at it. So I said, okay, I need to help this cat out. So long story short, we sat down, went through a mentoring process. And he's one of the top private concierge here in Atlanta now, who provides culinary services, bartending services. He does a lot of big events. So I was able to help him out. Another guy I want to talk about is Gio. Him and his wife, Chris. Chris worked as an engineer. Gio had just got out of the military, and they were going through situations, straining the marriage because of finances, of course. So he's like, look, man, I really need to do something. My health is kind of questionable in some areas. So I said, okay, let's work together. Long story short, Gio, they didn't have any kids too. And that's going to be important in a minute. They didn't have any kids because the finances, and they're just trying to get the careers going. So I helped them out. He has his own construction company. He has one of the most successful construction companies in Swanee, Georgia. His wife was an engineer. They ended up getting pregnant with their first kid. She came home from work and then decided, you know what? I don't want to go back to work full time. I want to at least try to work part time or work from home. So 5 kids later, did you catch that?
Yeah, 5.
5 years later. So they had a lot of time on the hand at the house.
Yeah.
They run successful companies. They got a mobile dry cleaning service company.
Wow.
They've expanded the construction company. She's full-time at home working her engineering company on her own terms. Give you another story. I give you kind of 3 wrapped up in one. We traveled to Costa Rica, met a guy named Martin. Went to Jamaica, met a guy named Dexton, and in Barbados, I met another guy, and all three of them, we helped them start international businesses, all in the travel industry. So
Wow.
that's just some of the things we help people do. We help people build private family banking systems. That's important.
Wow.
That's how the Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts and the Kennedy families all became successful, is by creating what's called a private family banking system. And, I teach a course on that on my one of my platforms. So
Wow.
it's just a lot of different things that we want to do, but I like to address the everyday person and say, look, how can you help me? So
Yes,
those
sir.
are just a few examples of some of the people that we've helped.
Wow, man. You have been doing now. How many years have you been doing this?
I have been an entrepreneur since '97 on paper.
Mm-hmm.
My very first business, me and my brother, we had a grass cutting business. I was
Mm-hmm.
7 and he was 10. And if you guys from Atlanta, like you got your nice sized yard, and then on the other side of the driveway, you got a little strip that you and the
Yeah.
neighbor share. Well, the little strip is what I used to cut, and I used to make $3, and my brother kept $4 because we would charge $7 a yard. And $7 back in the '80s,
Was a lot of money. Yeah.
that's some good money.
Yeah.
So that was my very first company.
Wow, man. I am so excited. And your presentation, it blew me away when we was at shout out to Laquel Farley who's checking in. Shout out to Stacy Masso who's checking in. Um Shout out to Rob, my brother. Um when you went through the slideshow on the success of your business, it allows you to travel and to see the world. But when I saw in your slideshow the picture that you took with the President Obama, and a couple other dignitaries, I saw Chris Tucker in the picture, and I was like, man, that was like your wall of fame. I like, yo, I want to be on the wall of fame. And I said, I remember I told you after you spoke, I said, I'm going to be on that wall. I want to be on that wall, and I'm going to be on the wall. I'm going to make that a mission.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, man, wow. So how often do you guys travel though? Your family, you guys take trips?
Yeah, we like to take international trips at least two to three times a year. We actually should be in Riviera Maya right now as we speak, but because of the COVID, that kind of shifted up a few things. We're going to take a quick little getaway here in a couple weeks up in the mountains. But that's one of the things that's important too. We like to expose the kids to different things, different cultures, and it just kind of gives you an idea of what's around the world. Because if you never left this country, a lot of people would think that this is just the cat's meow when it comes to the best place on the planet to live. But it's
Yeah.
so many business opportunities, so many cultural opportunities, and just things to see and experience around the globe that outside of the U.S. Went to
West.
Thailand. Man, we had a great time in Thailand.
Man.
Riding elephants in the sea and all kind of stuff like that. So that's the kind of things we want to expose kids to. We rented an island last year in Colombia, in Cartagena, and just to be able to expose the kids, let them know what they can do, let them know what money can do, because it's not about just making the money; it's what the money can do for you. You know what I'm saying? Because you can get all the money in the world and just sit on the table. It's not going to do nothing for you.
Right.
It's the memories. And that's one thing my dad always teaches. To this day, he still always tell me, create golden memories. So, money is just a tool. It's just a byproduct to get the things that make us happy, to be able to spend time and create memories with one another.
Amen. Amen. And also, people, do not be afraid to invest in yourself and take chances, because you never know what's on the other side of that fear. Don't be afraid to lose money. Always look at it as investment or liabilities. Am I right?
Man, you hit that right on the head, man.
Okay.
That's one thing we got to learn as in a community. We got to learn the difference between assets and liabilities. In short, assets put money in our pocket. Liability takes money out of our pocket. And so many times, in our culture, especially with our ladies, we got to help our queens out in this regard. But the kings, you got to be strong too in this regard. We can't go out here and buy Jordans all the time. We can't buy LV purses, Gucci and Coach, all this stuff that is a liability, and it doesn't put anything back in our pocket. Now,
right.
There's nothing wrong, Grady, with getting those things, but let's use an asset to pay for it.
Yes, sir.
That makes
I
sense?
agree.
So you can go out and buy a Mercedes, a really nice Mercedes or a Beamer or whatever it is that you like, and you can pay out of your savings account, and you got the car. No big deal.
Right.
But that same money, I'd rather see our community take that money and buy an asset producing income, such as a piece of real estate, that will now pay for that luxury item. Now, once the luxury item is paid for in 36 months or whatever, guess what? You still got the asset producing income, which was the real estate, to
Yes.
where you can go do other things with it. You go get another car if that's what you want to do. So we got to learn the order and sequence and the priorities of how we need to deploy our capital.
Right.
Uh,
And
if I if I can step in real
go
quick,
ahead.
Mr. Harris, I know there are a lot of people that have concerns when it comes to real estate or getting started in real estate when they have, of course, they weren't taught about having good credit, keeping good credit.
Mm-hmm.
They've missed their 20 years of life, their 20s to 30s, my bad, messing up their credit. How do they get started in, I guess, rebuilding, or can you get into real estate with bad credit? Is there a way around that?
Absolutely, man. That's a great question. I can hit so many different areas. G. Let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
When it comes to real estate, you can still do a lot of things in real estate that you can still make purchases. Now, we do some untraditional real estate, which most people are not even familiar with, but we do a lot of investing in mobile homes, and that way, mobile homes.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
So that way you don't need any credit. Now, what this does, it allows you to start building up your financial war chest so that you can then try and start buying real estate properties. Now, in the 80s and 90s, everybody in the community, we were thinking, hey, man, I'm going to get me an investment house. Well, if that one house is not occupied, we're not making any money. Best case scenario, let's say if we had a house we were renting and we made $700 a month, well, we still carry a note on that. 500, we still got to give back to the bank most likely, and 200 we may keep. If the person don't tear up the water heater, if they don't break the air conditioning compressor or something like that, it's gonna eat up our profit.
Right.
So with that same money, you can buy a lot of mobile homes, for an example, and you would, instead of making $700 a month, now we talk about making $2,500 to $3,000 a month and having multiple properties. So that kind of shifts me over to talk about that. We need to focus on mobile multifamily units. So imagine having a house, a single family house that we paid $100,000 for, and let's say we bought a quadplex for the same $100,000.
Right.
See, so with our kids, instead of giving them the keys to a car on their 16th birthday, why not give them the keys to a duplex, a triplex, or a quadplex, where they can live in one, have tenants in the other three. So tenant number one will pay for the whole building. Tenant number two will pay for any incidental or maintenance costs. Tenant number three will be straight profit, and your child is living free in their unit.
Right.
So that's some of the things we have to do. But when it comes to the credit, G, we got to be to the point where we got to value that credit. We got to continuously be able to build on that credit. And here's the trick to credit. You got to stay under the 30% mark, because a lot of times people get a credit card for $1,000. Man, I'm going to get $1,000 worth of stuff. Nope.
Yep.
You better stay at $300 or below, pay it off, run it back up to 300 the next month, pay it off over and over and over. So when you go over that 30%, what you're doing is you're actually tearing down your FICO score.
Yes.
And also with FICO score, let's talk about your DUNS number. Your DUNS number in business is like your FICO score for your business, because you have business credit.
Yeah.
Now, one thing too, if you guys have kids or you have grandkids, I'm gonna always recommend that you establish them an LLC no later than 12 years old. You can get it before then, but no later than 12. Here's why. They got an LLC. They're you'll be the registered agent because you're the adult, but they'll be the owner. They'll be on the board. And what this does is it starts your DUNS number. You get them a DUNS number, so it starts the clock of building business credit. So by the time they're 16 years old, they're rocking a 750, 800 credit score when it comes to business. Now, if you got an 800 business credit score, automatically your personal credit score is going to be up there too, and you start applying. Right. Now, in the interim, what you do, you add your children onto your account as an authorized user. Now, as the parent, you got to be responsible. So as you build good credit, you are doubly building up your children's good credit. Right. So now at 16 years old, there's no excuse why they should be in an A1 position when it comes to finances. So now
Right.
you guys can leverage back and forth. You should already have good credit because you built their credit up. Now, if you build your credit and put your child's credit together, now imagine the monstrosity type of real estate deals you and your child can have
Right.
before they
Yeah.
turn 21 years old.
Yeah.
So that credit
Crazy.
plays a huge, huge role.
It does. Now, I want to ask you this. With that being said, man, you touched everything else. I was going to ask you about the Duns number, and you haven't even mentioned it. You got to the cage number,
Right.
but for people who don't know how much people think it's expensive to start a business.
Mhm.
It, you can, matter of fact, for a pair of Jordans, you can get 2 business license. It's not expensive. Am I right? Am I correct? Because is it like $100 something to apply with the state to apply, to register with the state, something like that. It's not that it doesn't cost that much to get a business license to get registered. Everything else is pretty much it's down here. Just have to study and do research and get a mentor, somebody who's established, somebody who knows the business. Get a teacher, and the good book says we perish from the lack of knowledge. So you there with me, Mr. Sean, Mr. Harris? I think he stepped away.
Yeah, I think we lost him
Yeah,
for a second.
yeah, he's mobile.
Just touching on what Grady was saying, man, as far as opportunity, I have a saying, man, opportunity is a cliche. There's a cliche that is tied to opportunity. It says opportunity knocks once in a lifetime, which I think is true. We can all point back to something that we could have been involved in, a path that we could have taken when we were younger that would have changed our whole trajectory that we are in today. Opportunity only knocks once in a lifetime. It would prefer, however, for you to knock on this door every day. Opportunity knocks to say that it's there, but if you knock on this door every day, you got a better chance of coming out on the right side, on the top side. So, what's going on, Yiddy?
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, Yiddy had a great video on this morning. I don't know if y'all caught, if you caught that, Grady, man.
I didn't catch it.
Yeah. If y'all get a chance to go check that man's page out, check out his story. He's got a great video posted on that, man. And, hey, salute to Yiddy. Absolutely.
Yeah. Shout out. Man, this is some great information, man. Also, we got to start working on our credit. We have Mr. Sean Harris back. Because I was going to ask him, Mr. Harris about how much does it cost? How much does it cost to get a business license? I was trying to do an analogy, the rate of Jordan shoes versus the license, and get registered.
One bell pepper.
Yeah.
Hey, can you hear me, Grady?
Yeah, I can hear you a little bit.
Okay, sorry about that, brother. I got dropped off somehow. As far as starting a company, man, you're talking about in most states, you're talking about $100, $125, $150 tops for LLC registration. Your EIN number is totally free. A lot of times you see on websites where people are charging for that. All you do is go to irs.org and you get a free EIN number. It only takes about 10 minutes to do that. The actual registration of getting your LLC should only take you about 10, 15 minutes also. Depending on what type of business you have, you may need to get insurance. Again, insurance is not even expensive. Some of my companies, my insurance is only like $250, $300 a year for $1 million coverage. So that's another thing. And you mentioned cage also. That's one thing we got to do too. We got to learn how to certify our companies in the SAMS system.
Yes.
Because like my wife.
System awards. Yep.
Right. It's one thing that I'm a minority, an African American man. I get first preferential bids on federal contracts. Just being a black man. But watch this. What we do in our operating agreements, we show that my wife owns 51%, I own 49%. So she has dominant ownership. And then I have 51% voting rights. She has 49% voting rights. So that keeps everything balanced out. Here's why that's important. My wife is a veteran. She's a woman. She's a black woman. She's a disabled veteran. You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
so that's 4 designations just right there alone. We have like 5 or 6 that we qualify for. We do HUD empowerment zones, WBE, entitlements. So once you get your business registered through all these different entities, now you're at a point where you place yourself on the top 1% of that 30%. But
Yes,
see,
sir.
here's what happened. The federal government and state level governments, local governments, they have these contracts, but we're not putting in for them. So guess what? Now they're not going to announce them all big and loud. They're going to say, they're going to whisper, hey, guess what? We got a bid open. Okay.
Yep.
So you barely heard it, but we did announce it. Now, because we didn't go take advantage of it, now they give them out to all their buddies. Hey, Leroy. Hey, Chad. Hey, Oscar. Come get this bid that nobody else applied for. But we did put it out there.
Yeah.
So now they
Yeah.
buddies get the bid. So what you do is you get the big bid. Don't be afraid because it's some big multi-million-dollar bid. You know what I'm saying? This bid we just put in for one with Lockheed Martin a couple months ago. Multi-million-dollar bid. So don't be afraid to, well, if I get the bid, how am I gonna handle that? Well, you just sub it out. You don't have to do the work. You just sub it out.
That's right.
So like the contract we did up there is for the cleaning company. I ain't cleaning up 101 acres of land. My company ain't gonna do that. We'll just sub it out though.
Yeah.
And ideally, I'm gonna use the same principles. I'm gonna find a black-owned business who can do the work for me and sub it out.
Right. So let me ask you this: what about the military spouses? Because there's a lot of military spouses don't know they have the same rights as a spouse or same privilege as a spouse. As far as business wise, because I was in a webinar, I think an Amazon webinar, and like you can get contracts with Amazon as a military spouse. They have sections and stuff for you.
Yeah, it's a plethora of benefits that we get being in the military, where the spouse benefits, and that's one thing too. I'm going to talk about. Get your disabled benefits. You know, a lot of times when we get out of the military, you know, we do what's called an exit interview, and you know, we feel good. We're like, oh man, I'm good. No, apply for your disabilities to get service connected. So, you know, a lot of times too, we've always heard, you know, we had that uncle, that dad, or that granddaddy, that uncle that always talk about, I ain't serving no white man's military. Let me tell you what, man, you better use the military and leverage that thing to the maximum. See, that's how we can send our kids to college if you want to go to college route. See, when I was in the military, I got a background in aerospace propulsion. That was a trade, a profession that I learned totally free. If I wanted to, I could have went to school while I was in for free. I could have went to school to be a dentist. Then when I got out, they still gave me money through the GI Bill to go to school where I could have been an engineer. So in 8 years, relatively or less, I could have had 3 strong professions or skill sets that could make well over 6 figures a piece, and totally free. And so, as Black people, we got to learn how to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and then as far as with the GI Bill, you can have your kids. Your kids can go to college off the GI Bill, especially the post 9/11 bill that they have. So you're not doing it for yourself; you're doing it for your family. See, people say they hustling. No, you hustling for your first name, but you got to start hustling for your last name. You know, do what you got to do so you can do what you want to do, so you can provide for who you love. But see, we have to. We don't know, so that's why we have this platform, so we can teach you guys about how to create generational wealth. Because with working, you can just take that money and use that money to create your business. You know, that you learned from the military. What you took from the military, you learn how to strategize, how to plan, how to do all this stuff, and then you implemented that into your methodology for your business.
Right.
So we have to use what we have to do what we want to do and make it apply to what we want to do. I can't say it. I'm sorry, I'm just all over the place, but you understand what I'm saying.
I got you. I feel you.
Just so much trying to come out at one time. But man, I really appreciate you, man. And definitely people, Mr. Sean J. Harris, I think it's a Thousandfolds group.
Yes. Yep. Thousandfold Group, Thousandfold Capital.
Thousandfold Capital. Please, if you're not sure how to set up a business, please contact Mr. Harris.
They can find me at SeanJHarris.com, which is SEAN, the letter J, Harris.com, or either GenWealthAcademy.com.
Man, because you have a lot of great information. Please, and he can make it so easy for you that it goes so seamlessly. Register. He does mentorship. He's coach. Hey, look here. If you want success, Success leave clues. This man know where all the clues is. Man, you need to reach out if you want a business. If you have a dream of a vision of your dream, a plan. He'll tell you how to format it and the steps that you need to take to make it happen, make it a reality. You know, it, man, I ain't gonna lie. Just by being in that workshop, that level up workshop with LaKel Farley, that really, really, really lit a fire under me. And definitely, I'm looking forward to working with you, partnering with you. I think things are coming together right now. This COVID-19, if you're not successful during this time or preparing or planning, then you're wasting your time. And like Mr. Harris said, time is your most valuable commodity. It's time. So we have to take advantage. Anything that you want to pardon saying that you want to leave the listeners with?
Yeah, I want to give because of what we're going through the climate right now. I want to give 10 tips to how to gain social power, and they're really brief, straight to the point. Number one, I'm going to recommend for our community, we need to purchase weapons. Okay. Number two, attain a carrying permit. We want to make sure we're carrying legally and being trained everything. Third thing I want to recommend everybody do is to educate ourselves on weapon handling. Don't just get a weapon and not know how to handle it. Number four, teach your kids about weapons. A lot of times, growing up, we're always told if you see a weapon, don't you dare touch it and everything. But we have to teach our children how weapons are handled properly, so that if they come in a situation where they might have to pick up one to defend themselves or you as the parent, they should know how to do it. Number five, develop economic power. Number six, practice group economics. Number seven, build a private family banking system. Number eight, we got to stop buying items that do not increase our net worth, like the LVs, the Gucci's, and all this kind of stuff that exploit our community's dollars. Number nine, stop spending and start saving. Investing. Stop spending and start investing. And number 10, deploy our capital towards income-producing assets. So that's a big start of what we can do right now. With the protests is going on, everybody saying, well, what should we do? Those are 10 things right now that you can do to make effective change for your family.
Wow. That was a quick 10. I was trying to write and keep up. I said, I want to say slow down, but I didn't want to interrupt you.
I'll send it to you.
Okay. And they're definitely going to repost it and reshare. But also, before we have a few more minutes, I want to ask you about, it's one of the posts that you have posted about the laws that if we see we as a citizen, we the people see the law enforcement doing something that's detrimental, that's hazardous, putting somebody's life in danger, as what happened with George Floyd. We have the right to stop this. I forgot the order that you post, but the code. I think was it a code, a law code, or something like that?
Yeah, it's called Georgia OCGA, which is the Annotated Code of Justice. First and foremost, I am not an attorney. I'm not giving any legal advice or anything like that.
Okay.
So I'm going to implore that people read it on their own. But pretty much, in short, what it is for any state that has stand your ground laws. In those stand your ground laws, it says that you can help a third party out if you see that they're in imminent danger, severe harm, or something that could lead to their death. So in that situation, that also pertains to police officers. So if a police officer is doing something that you see can cause imminent danger, harm, or death to a person, particularly when it's unjust, you are legally bound and responsible to take part and help out that citizen.
Okay.
That's in a vicarious situation.
Okay. Now, is that a particular website? Because I know I don't know where to go and look for these laws. Is there a certain website that we can go and learn and study law?
The biggest thing is just if you Google whatever state you're in, Google that particular state's stand your ground law, and it'll give you the code section in that state's penal code system.
Okay. All right. Oh man, I forgot to do my disclaimer. I have a buddy of mine who was on the show last week. No, I'm sorry, not last week, Monday. Oh, the days go by so fast. Carl Mobley, Sheriff Carl Mobley. He's running for sheriff on the 9th of this month. And I've been out campaigning with them, helping him out. And he's a good brother. I've known him for years. He's a native Atlanta, born in Grady Hospital as well. or either Hugh Spalding.
It's a
But
difference. It's a difference.
it's a different, but it's on the same block.
Yep, you're
They're
right about
neighbors. So, um, but yeah, he's a native Atlanta, Gordon High School graduate, and law enforcement. He had did 28 years of law enforcement, and now he's running for sheriff for DeKalb County. And
that.
we definitely, if you live in DeKalb County, please go out and vote on the 9th. We need your vote. We need your support. Support your own. If you want change, put your people in that understand your community in office. Because the people that's patrolling our office doesn't understand our culture. They don't understand our body language or our gestures and stuff like that. So in order to change the game, you have to get in it. Please, it's so much more than just being entertainers, athletes and stuff. There's nothing against that, but we need doctors, lawyers, and police officers that understand us and that you know that can and police us. And also, too, I don't know the exact site. I'm definitely gonna do some more research. I know they have programs. If you have a felon on your record, there's a program that can help you get your record clean, so you can retrieve and regain your voting rights. Especially if you've been out of trouble for a long period of time, you can get that taken off your license. Am I correct?
Yeah, you are correct.
Okay. All right. Well, you know how that quietness thing. Oh, am I wrong? Am I right? But we also too. We have to be more smart. We have to be smart about what we do. We don't want to do anything that's going to jeopardize our family. Because if you do something that's going to put you in jail, you're jeopardizing your family. Because you may get hit with a misdemeanor. I think 3 misdemeanors equals 1 felony, maybe 4 misdemeanors. You don't want to get that on your record. Because by you getting a record, it prevents you from joining law enforcement and this and that. So it could hinder the process. So keep yourself clean, protect your family, and also protect yourself. All right. Am I right?
I agree.
And to add on, I know we mentioned DeKalb County. Every county, every city,
Yes.
every precinct,
Yes.
vote.
Yes.
I know it's been a lot of confusion and a lot of frustration as far as the process and why we are why we don't show out to the polls as we have done in previous years for previous candidates. But this vote coming up is very important. Ladies and gentlemen, this vote first off, it focuses on the primary for the presidential election. But this is where the House, the Senate, the people that really have the ability to affect locally and nationally what happens in our lives. So this is the vote that we really need to show up and respond to. A lot of times we get caught up with the brand name. We see Jordan and we forget that there's a Nike running behind it. We see the president and forget that the House and the Congress is what's running behind it. So I urge you, for the few minutes that it takes for you to stand in that line, and I hope that you know the candidates.
Yes.
You know, we put a lot of emphasis on us as voters, but candidates, y'all got to do better.
This is what I was going to say. Make sure you go online and research the candidates that's running in your area. Please research them. This election right here, the local elections, these are the ones I want to guess, and I hope I'm right with my guess. These are the electoral college votes that makes the decision of who going out. Your councilman, your congressman, your senators. Those electoral college. Please, this election is more important than a national election. You know, the national election, they are elected. You know what I mean? We don't select them; they are already elected. So please, we need to put the person in office that suits us. Do your research. Please go out to town hall meetings, try to meet these people, talk with them, and no, because it's power in voting. But we have to also be mindful of our voting, and also if we don't get our needs met, be willing to sacrifice not spending your money. Keep your money, and I see the blackout movement. They saying 1 day. I'm thinking 90 days, 3 months. Because you see how fast they gave the stimulus check because people stayed in, they wasn't spending. That was shutting the economy down. You know, we the people, we spend over $1 trillion on stuff. Am I right, brother Harris?
Yeah, man, you're right. Last year, in 2018, we spent 1.7 trillion, and that's just money that we spent. That's not money that we made. That's just what we spent.
Spent.
So if
Yes.
you redirect that capital back into African American businesses, minority businesses, man, that'll make a huge impact. And I think
Yes.
people really got to understand that.
Yes. And that's it, folks.
And if
Man,
the
Mr. Can
if
you
the
give me your
river
socials again? Go ahead, G Clark.
I just wanted to add, if the river dries up, they'll notice it.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Cause think about it.
the 1 day theory, the 1 day that they've been pushing out, I love the fact that people are getting behind it, but we have to a week, 2 weeks, like Grady said, 3 months would be ultimate. But we saw in a 2 week period of the senior citizens not being able to go and shop, affected the nation. People were getting laid off. Medical businesses were laying off staff. I mean, just the senior citizens. When the whole thing came out that senior citizens were most susceptible of catching coronavirus, and they quarantined themselves. I mean, that basically jump started everything that we're experiencing now with everybody having to stay home.
Yeah.
So just think about it, with what he said. You said 1.7 trillion.
1.7 trillion.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
a lot of money.
That's a lot.
In a year.
If we froze that up for 2 weeks, just like the senior citizens.
Yep. Make a big deal.
I think 2 weeks is doable. You start saying months and 3 months, people are gonna, people don't have that much commitment. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
But for 1 day, businesses can prepare for 1 day. They can just send everybody home for 1 day.
Yeah, we would do it for 3 months. 3 months, it's gonna tell the story. Mr. Harris, I have one question. I should have asked this earlier. When people protest and they get arrested, do they have to pay a bail or do they get released on their own conduct?
It's just going to really depend on their particular background, what the record may be in the past. The most city jails cannot facilitate the amount of arrests they have. From my understanding, I've been hearing people getting driven behind buildings and released, just kind of get you away from the crowd, and then they just let you out the back of the van. So it's just a whole different variety of things that they're doing out here.
Yeah, it's kind of makes me think like if you get arrested, you have to get bonded and bailed out, but that money goes right back into the law enforcement department, the court system, and all that stuff there. So, and I think
great, real quick. G Clark just made a good point about the voting.
Okay.
I'm hearing a lot of people in our community saying, "Well, you got to earn our vote, and we're not just going to automatically vote." I understand that. I truly do. Now, here's the thing: we got to do as a community, though. We got to focus on what is our ask. What is our ask? Everybody's saying, "Well, I want this done for the community. I want that." But when you ask them, it's like, "Well, what is it that you want? What is it that we want collectively?" And as a collective, and even individually, I'm finding that a lot of people don't even know what to ask is. So that's one thing that we have to do as a community. What is it? What are 3 things that you really want? What is the one thing collectively that all minorities can pretty much say, "Hey, we can get down with that program and shoot for that." You see what I'm saying? Because if you just, I saw somebody yesterday say, "I'm gonna fill in on my ballot Nino Brown." I'm like, come on, man, we got to do better than that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, the Bible said you have not because you ask not. So people are like, "Oh, Mr. Wilson, they didn't do anything for us. We didn't go to him with any demands. We didn't, a lot of people didn't contribute because a lot of times you had to contribute. That's why they call super PACs. Super PACs put money together to get agenda push. So we have to be willing to invest. That's a part of investment, right?
That's it.
So yeah, man, I want to thank you, Mr. Harris. You're welcome on the show anytime. Anything that you want to get across to the people, the doors is open. You family, you in.
I appreciate you guys. I appreciate both of you, man.
And I thank you. Thank you for educating us. And we are definitely going to be messaging you, messaging you after the show. And I thank you. Give everybody your socials where they can find you.
You find me Sean J. Harris or Sean J. Harris Speaks on all social media platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, you name it. And again, my website is seanjharris.com or genwealthacademy.com for Generation Wealth Academy.
Generation Wealth. We got to start somewhere. Let's start now, y'all. It's never too late to start.
And if I can shout out real quick, Grady,
Yeah,
I
go
got
ahead.
my 28th book I just released about a month ago. It's called Why It's Critical for Black Families to Make Money, and subtitled Survival of the Race. In this book, I lay it all out as far as step by step what we need to do as a community to be able to survive financially and as a race.
All right. Oh man, you get the link. I'll definitely will post on the website. Also, I will share it on my Facebook page and encourage everybody to share, like, and share this video, and spread the word, because we need to know everything's in the book. Please get the book. I'm telling you, if you want to know what they say, if you want to know the truth, if you want to learn something, well, no, if you want to hide something for somebody, put it in the book.
Put it in the book.
So there you go. Get your book. Get your copy today. Is it? You said available when?
It's available now.
Available now. Go get your copy, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure we're gonna post it, and then I'm gonna put it in the description on YouTube so people can go to it. And also, do you have a YouTube channel too, Mr. Harris?
Yes, Sean J. Harris Speaks.
Oh, okay. There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Across all platforms.
All platforms. Our motto is each one reach one, each one teach one. We love you guys. Thank y'all for your support and your time. Take care of each other. Look out for each other. Let's come together. Let's make it work. In Jesus' name, in Jesus' name we pray. I had to put Jesus in there, because they don't let you say Jesus on national radio and national on TV and everything. We're gonna say it in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Hey, to the man.
All right, we love you. We out here. Peace.
Take it easy.